Australia was unforgettable, but now a brand new adventure begins. Welcome to New Zealand, where Luna takes us along roads that seem to reveal another incredible view around every corner. So grab a hot chocolate, get comfortable, and come along as we enjoy this adventure together.
A few hours ago, we were in Australia. Now, we're standing at the edge of New Zealand's deep south. The journey starts with an Air New Zealand flight across the Tasman Sea into Christchurch. From there, we board a smaller flight south to Invercargill. Watch the landscape transform beneath us. The mountains gradually give way to rolling farmland. The roads become thinner, the towns become smaller, and by the time we begin descending toward Invercargill, it feels like we've discovered a quieter side of New Zealand, one that many travelers never see.
I love arrivals like this. The kind where you look out the window and immediately start wondering what life is like down there. Bright green fields, tiny roads disappearing into the distance, and absolutely none of the rush you associate with big cities. It feels calm before you've even landed.
Waiting for us at Invercargill Airport was one of the things I've been looking forward to most. Not a landmark, not a famous attraction. Our campervan. While we were traveling through Australia, the incredible team at Pegasus Adventures handled all the logistics. They brought Luna, our self-contained Mitsubishi Delica campervan, all the way down from Auckland to Invercargill for us. That meant the adventure could begin the moment we landed.
And after a day of airports and connecting flights, seeing Luna waiting for us felt surprisingly exciting. Most people arrive and look for a hotel. We arrived and immediately started opening cupboards.
Luna is compact, automatic, easy to drive, and somehow manages to fit everything we need for life on the road. It's amazing how much Pegasus Adventures has packed into a campervan that's only 4.72 meters long.
Every cupboard has a purpose. Every space has a use. And within 10 minutes, I'd already created a storage system.
Within 11 minutes, I'd accidentally broken the storage system.
Which is why road trips require teamwork.
The first thing that strikes me about Southland is the space. Everything feels bigger, the skies feel wider, the roads stretch further, and there's a sense that the adventure is only just beginning. Driving Luna through Invercargill feels like the perfect introduction to New Zealand's deep south.
I also appreciate that Pegasus Adventures didn't hand us some giant, intimidating vehicle. Luna feels approachable, which is important because I like adventures. I do not like accidentally driving a bus.
Our first major stop is Oreti Beach, and calling this a beach almost feels inadequate. Oreti stretches for approximately 26 kilometers along the Southland coast. That's 26 kilometers of wide, open shoreline, and in many sections, vehicles are allowed to drive directly on the hard-packed sand.
The first time we rolled onto the beach in Luna, I had one thought. Are we really allowed to do this? Apparently yes, and it's fantastic.
The beach is famous for another reason too. This was the training ground of New Zealand motorcycle legend Burt Munro. For years he used these long stretches of sand to test and refine his motorcycles before eventually setting land speed records on Utah's Bonneville Salt Flats. His remarkable story later inspired the film The World's Fastest Indian.
I just totally love that story. It reminds you that extraordinary achievements don't always begin in extraordinary places. Sometimes they begin on a windy beach at the bottom of New Zealand.
Standing here also gives you a real sense of geography. Beyond the horizon lies the vast Southern Ocean, and eventually, Antarctica. There's something humbling about that. A short drive south brings us to Bluff. This is the southernmost town on New Zealand's South Island, and one of the country's most famous coastal communities.
And yes, we're absolutely stopping at Stirling Point. Because if you're in Bluff, you need the photo with the famous yellow signpost.
The sign points towards cities all over the world: London, New York, Sydney. And standing beside it really highlights how far south we've traveled.
It also makes me truly appreciate how much easier flying is than walking.
Bluff is also famous for its oysters. Bluff oysters are harvested from Foveaux Strait between March and August and are considered among New Zealand's most prized seafood delicacies. People travel from around the country specifically to try them.
Even if seafood isn't your thing, it's impossible not to notice how proud Bluff is of its oyster heritage. Around here, they're treated with the kind of respect usually reserved for celebrities.
Back in Invercargill, we visit one of the most surprising attractions in New Zealand, Bill Richardson Transport World. And honestly, I wasn't prepared for the scale.
Neither was I. You hear Transport Museum and think a few old vehicles. Then you walk inside and realize you've entered an entire universe dedicated to transport history.
This is the largest private automotive museum of its type in New Zealand. Hundreds of vehicles, vintage trucks, classic cars, rare machinery, and exhibits covering over a century of transport history.
Even people who aren't car people end up enjoying it, because some of these trucks are absolutely enormous. Standing beside them makes Luna look like the world's most determined little explorer.
And that's really saying something, because Luna is doing an excellent job so far. After engines and transport history, Queen's Park provides a completely different experience. This enormous park covers more than 80 hectares and sits right in the heart of the city.
It's one of those places that feels designed to slow you down. Wide walking paths, beautiful gardens, open green spaces, and plenty of reasons to stay longer than planned.
The park also features a free aviary, animal enclosures, a Japanese garden, and beautifully maintained displays throughout the year. It's one of Invercargill's most loved community spaces.
And honestly, it's hard not to appreciate a city that gives people somewhere this beautiful to enjoy for free.
Then we discover something completely different, Demolition World, one of Invercargill's quirkiest attractions.
This place is impossible to describe in one sentence. It's part museum, part collection, part treasure hunt, and entirely memorable.
The site is built from salvaged materials, restored structures, historic items, machinery, signs, and objects that have been rescued and preserved. Every corner reveals something unexpected.
You spend the entire visit saying, "Wait, what's that?" Followed immediately by, "Oh, that's actually really interesting."
As the evening settles over Southland, we return to Luna, and something interesting happens. The campervan stops feeling like transportation and starts feeling like home.
The kettle has a place. The blankets have a place. The snacks definitely have a place. Everything starts finding its rhythm.
That's one of the things I appreciate most about what Pegasus Adventures has created. The campervan doesn't complicate travel, it simplifies it.
Which leaves more time for the important things: exploring, discovering, and debating whether biscuits belong in cupboard number 1 or cupboard number 2.
That discussion remains ongoing.
Some journeys are about famous landmarks. Some are about ticking places off a list, and some are about discovering the places in between. Today, Luna is taking us north from Invercargill, along State Highway 6, through the heart of rural Southland, small towns, big landscapes, local stories, and possibly the most unexpectedly famous slice of toast in New Zealand, because this road trip is all about classic Kiwi heartland. And trust me, there are more surprises here than you might think. The best thing about campervan travel is that every morning feels different. You wake up somewhere new, make a coffee, open the door, and suddenly that view becomes your front yard. Luna has already carried us through some incredible places. And today, she is heading north through rolling farmland and wide open countryside. This is Southland, at its most relaxed: green fields, big skies, and roads that seem to stretch forever.
This might be the first road where I feel relaxed before I even get out of the van.
Give it some time. We have not reached the bakery yet. Our first stop is Winton, a historic farming town right in the middle of Southland. The town is named after Thomas Winton, a local stockman who lived and farmed in the area in the 1850s. The district thrived with the development of sheep and fat lamb farms in the early 1900s. Later, dairy farming became the staple economy. Although the town has also seen sawmills, there is one place everyone seems to talk about: the bakery. Because if you visit Southland, there is one local specialty you absolutely need to try: the famous Southland Cheese Roll, known affectionately as Southern Sushi. And before anyone asks, no, there is absolutely no fish involved. The Southland Cheese Roll is wonderfully simple: a mixture of cheese, onion soup mix, and evaporated milk spread onto bread, rolled up, then toasted until golden. That is it. No complicated ingredients, no fancy presentation. Just comfort food perfected through generations. And honestly, one bite explains why locals love them. Warm, crispy, cheesy, and impossible to stop at just one.
I think I understand why people drive across town for these.
The first one is lunch, the second one is research. Back on the road, the scenery begins to change. The farmland opens up, the valleys become wider, and distant hills begin rising across the horizon. Soon we arrive in Atholl, a tiny settlement with a surprisingly Scottish connection. Atholl was named after the Duke of Atholl in Scotland, a reminder of the Scottish heritage that helped shape much of Southland. And honestly, that explains why some of these landscapes feel like somebody took Scotland and added more sheep. Then they turned the scenery settings up to maximum. The road continues north toward Lumsden, named after Dr. Joseph Lumsden, who served as Assistant Colonial Secretary during the 19th century. And while the scenery is spectacular, our next stop reminds us that sometimes the best travel moments are the simplest ones. Just outside Lumsden, we make a stop at the reserve, and this is one of those places that perfectly captures what makes Southland special. No giant attractions, no crowds, no ticket booths, just a beautiful stretch of the Oreti River, surrounded by open countryside. The water here is incredibly clear, moving quietly through the valley beneath the surrounding hills. It feels peaceful, the kind of place where you arrive for 10 minutes and somehow stay for an hour. The Oreti River is famous throughout New Zealand, partly for its excellent trout fishing, but also for its natural beauty. Standing beside the river, you can understand why people keep coming back. The air feels fresher, everything moves a little slower, and the scenery does not need to try very hard to impress you.
I feel like this is the kind of place where people come to relax and accidentally forget what day it is.
Honestly, after 5 minutes here, I completely understand how that happens. Standing beside the Oreti River, everything feels calm. The current moves gently through the valley. The mountains sit quietly in the distance, and the water is so clear you can often see straight to the riverbed below. It is one of those places where you stop talking for a moment and simply enjoy being there. The Oreti River is also known beyond New Zealand, appearing in scenes from films, which means this peaceful river has quietly become part of movie history. But believe it or not, the best surprises of today are still waiting ahead. Because next we arrive in Lumsden, a small town with a surprisingly big railway story. Today it feels peaceful, but in its railway heyday, Lumsden was one of the most important rail junctions in the South Island. Trains arrived from multiple directions, connecting remote communities and helping goods move across the region, and that history is still beautifully preserved. The Heritage Railway Precinct is one of those places that instantly catches your attention. Vintage locomotives, historic railway carriages, old station buildings, and fascinating artifacts from a completely different era. The best part, it is free to explore, and Luna looks surprisingly comfortable parked beside all this railway history, almost like transport from two different centuries meeting for a chat.
100 years apart and both still carrying travelers.
Although one of them offers considerably better sleeping arrangements. One of the things I enjoy most about places like this is how history feels approachable. You are not reading about it behind glass. You are walking through it, imagining steam engines arriving, passengers stepping onto the platform, and communities growing around these railway lines. It is easy to see how important places like Lumsden once were. After a day on the road, there is only one logical next stop: food. Route 6 Cafe sits right in the heart of Lumsden and perfectly suits the road trip atmosphere. Retro decor, transport memorabilia, friendly service, and portions that arrive with genuine confidence. The burgers are famous locally. The coffee is excellent, and every wall seems to tell another story.
I ordered a burger. I think they accidentally delivered a construction project.
To be fair, you looked very pleased about it. As the sun begins to set, we pull into the Freedom Camping area right beside the old railway precinct. And this is where campervan travel really shines. No rushing, no alarms, no schedules, just a quiet evening, good food, and another beautiful Southland sunset. Inside Luna, everything feels cozy. Dinner dishes packed away, maps spread across the table, curtains drawn, and tomorrow's adventure waiting somewhere beyond the horizon. Today was not about world-famous landmarks or extreme adventures. It was about discovering the heart of Southland, the small towns, the local stories, the friendly people, and the places many travelers simply drive past. From southern sushi in Winton, to peaceful riverside views at Tākahē Reach, to railway history in Lumsden, this journey reminded us that sometimes the most memorable experiences are the ones you never expected. And honestly, that is exactly what makes road trips so special.
Today looks simple on paper. Drive from Lumsden to Te Anau. About an hour and a bit. Easy, straight road, no complicated turns, no mountain passes, no mysterious dirt tracks, which can only mean one thing. Something is about to distract us, because this is New Zealand. and New Zealand treats travel itineraries more like friendly suggestions. As we leave Lumsden behind, the landscape begins opening up around us. Rolling farmland stretches toward the horizon. Sheep appear, then more sheep, and then enough sheep to start wondering if they've secretly taken over the country. Honestly, at this point, I'm fairly certain the sheep outnumber the people by a comfortable margin. And the further west we drive, the bigger the scenery becomes, almost like Fiordland is slowly introducing itself from a distance. Our first proper stop is Mossburn. Population, just over 200 people, which means if somebody starts a rumor here, it probably reaches the entire town before lunch. Mossburn is known as the venison capital of the world. And that title isn't just marketing. New Zealand's first commercial deer farm was established near here in 1972, but deer processing in the area goes back even earlier, long before deer farming became common. And standing proudly in town is a giant stag statue, because apparently somebody looked at a normal deer and thought, needs to be much larger. I respect that decision. The antlers alone look like they could receive satellite television.
Imagine being the real deer that inspired this. You'd never stop talking about it.
Absolutely. Every family gathering forever. Have I mentioned the statue? Now, if you're in the venison capital, there is only one responsible thing to do. Eat a venison pie, purely for research purposes. Naturally, New Zealand takes pies very seriously. This isn't convenience store food. This is practically a national institution. And the venison pie arrives looking suspiciously perfect. Golden pastry, rich filling, and enough aroma to completely derail any attempt at self-control. One bite in, and suddenly I understand why locals recommend these so strongly. This might be one of those moments where the food deserves its own travel show. Just outside Mossburn, something unexpected appears. 29 giant wind turbines standing across the hills. The White Hill Wind Farm, one of New Zealand's early large-scale wind energy projects. And the contrast is incredible. Modern renewable energy, ancient mountains, endless farmland, all sharing the same landscape. And standing underneath one of these turbines really changes your perspective. They're enormous. The blades look slow from a distance, but each rotation covers a huge amount of sky. It's one of those moments where engineering and nature somehow manage to look equally impressive. And then something fascinating happens. The road doesn't really change, but the scenery does. Dramatically, the mountains begin growing larger with every kilometer. West Dome rises ahead, standing around 1,270 meters tall. Nearby Mount Hamilton climbs even higher, reaching nearly 1,500 meters. At first, they seem distant. Then suddenly, they're dominating the horizon, like giant stone guardians standing at the entrance to Fiordland.
Those mountains have serious main character energy.
They really do, and somehow they're still only the opening act, because the really big Fiordland scenery is still ahead. Soon we pass through the Quay, one of those tiny New Zealand settlements where blinking at the wrong moment could count as sightseeing. But places like this tell an important story. The farther west you travel, the fewer towns you see. The wider the spaces become, the more remote everything feels. And that's exactly what makes this part of the South Island so special. You begin realizing just how much wilderness still exists here. Not managed, not built over, just wild landscapes stretching for kilometers. And then, the payoff. Our first view of Lake Te Anau. And honestly, photos don't prepare you for the scale. Lake Te Anau is the largest lake in Australasia by freshwater volume, the largest in New Zealand's South Island, and the second largest lake in the entire country. The lake stretches deep into Fiordland, surrounded by mountains, forests, and vast open skies. It feels less like arriving at a lake, and more like arriving at an inland sea.
I feel like somebody forgot to tell this lake it's supposed to be a lake.
Exactly. It completely ignores normal lake-sized expectations. Standing near the waterfront is one of New Zealand's most famous birds, the Tākahē, a large, flightless bird with brilliant blue and green plumage, and one of the greatest wildlife comeback stories anywhere on Earth. For decades, scientists believed the species was extinct, gone forever. The last confirmed sightings dated back to the 19th century. Then, in 1948, a small surviving population was rediscovered in the remote Murchison Mountains nearby. The bird had quietly survived, while the rest of the world assumed it was gone, which is honestly one of the greatest surprise comebacks in conservation history.
Imagine disappearing for 50 years and then casually returning like nothing happened.
Just like that, the Tākahē basically pulled off the wildlife equivalent of, you thought I was gone, and just a few minutes away, you can actually see a real Tākahē up close without hiking through remote mountain ranges. The Te Anau Bird Sanctuary is one of the best wildlife experiences in the country, and it's completely free, which might be the most shocking fact of the entire day. Alongside the Tākahē, you'll often see kaka, native forest parrots famous for their intelligence, curiosity, and complete inability to mind their own business. These birds investigate everything: backpacks, shoelaces, cameras, probably tax documents if given the opportunity, and somehow they always look pleased with themselves. Today started with deer, continued through wind farms, crossed vast farming country, watched mountains slowly rise from the horizon, and ended beside one of the most spectacular lakes in New Zealand. Not bad for what was technically supposed to be a travel day. Sometimes the road between destinations becomes the adventure itself. And today was a perfect example, because if this is merely the gateway to Fiordland, I can't wait to see what's waiting beyond the gate.
For the last few days, Luna has taken us through mountains, coastlines, tiny towns, and some of the most beautiful roads in New Zealand. But today, the road ends. Not because we got lost, although that has happened before. Today, the road literally stops, because the place we are heading cannot be reached by road at all. Our destination is Doubtful Sound, known in Maori as Pattaya, one of the largest and most remote fjords in New Zealand, and getting there requires boats, a mountain pass, another boat, and a whole lot of wilderness. The day begins in Te Anau, a town often called the gateway to Fiordland. Most visitors rush straight through on their way to Milford Sound, but Te Anau quietly sits beside the second largest lake in New Zealand, surrounded by mountains, native forest, and some of the darkest night skies in the country. It feels peaceful, like the last friendly outpost before the wilderness takes over.
This feels like the kind of place where everybody secretly knows how to fish.
And probably owns at least one waterproof jacket. Just 20 minutes south of Te Anau, we arrive at Manapouri, home to one of New Zealand's most beautiful lakes, and the starting point for every journey into Doubtful Sound. Luna gets a well-earned rest in the visitor parking area, because from here, the only way forward is by water, and that is when things start feeling much more adventurous. Soon we are gliding across Lake Manapouri, and honestly, this lake deserves far more attention than it gets. The shoreline stretches for hundreds of kilometers. More than 30 islands are scattered across its surface, and mountains rise directly from the water. In the 1960s, this lake became the center of one of New Zealand's most important conservation campaigns, when thousands of people united to protect it from being razed for hydroelectric development. Many historians consider it the beginning of New Zealand's modern environmental movement. So this beautiful lake helped change the country's conservation future. Not bad, for a place most people drive straight past as we cross the lake. The scale of today's journey becomes clear. Many people know Milford Sound, but Doubtful Sound is enormous. It stretches roughly 40 kilometers inland, making it significantly larger than Milford Sound. And because there is no direct road access, far fewer visitors ever make it here, which means fewer crowds, more wildlife, and a very different experience. Imagine discovering a famous attraction, then removing most of the people. That is Doubtful Sound. After the boat crossing, we board a coach with some unexpected rain and begin climbing Wilmot Pass, one of the most isolated roads in New Zealand. This road was built during construction of the Manapouri hydroelectric project and remains the only road in Fiordland that was not built for public transportation purposes. Every corner reveals another amazing waterfall, another giant tree, another view that makes you immediately reach for a camera. Ancient rainforest surrounds us, covered in mosses, ferns, and trees that seem older than time itself. Then the coach reaches the summit, and suddenly everyone becomes quiet, because spread out below us is our first view of Doubtful Sound. Dark water winding through mountains, dense rainforest covering every slope, clouds drifting between towering peaks. Even on misty days, the landscape feels extraordinary. Actually, especially on misty days, the fog makes the entire fjord feel mysterious, almost untouched.
This really looks like the kind of place fantasy movies wish they could film in.
The awkward part is that reality got here first. The road descends toward Deep Cove, and this is where the wilderness truly begins. Just mountains, rainforest, and water, then waiting at the dock. Our vessel appears, and suddenly, the scale of this adventure feels very real. As the boat glides deeper into Doubtful Sound, the cliffs grow taller, waterfalls tumble from impossible heights, and the water below appears almost black. That dark color comes from tannins washed down from the rainforest, creating a unique, freshwater layer above the seawater. It gives the fjord an almost mirror-like appearance and somehow makes the scenery feel even more dramatic. Then comes the moment everybody talks about afterwards. The engines stop completely. And for a few minutes, there is nothing. No vehicles, no roads, no city sounds, no background noise, just birds, wind, waterfalls, and nature. The silence is so complete, it almost feels loud, and in a world full of constant noise, that might be the most extraordinary thing about this place. Then the wildlife begins to appear. New Zealand fur seals resting on rocky ledges, bottlenose dolphins moving effortlessly through the water, and with a little luck, one of New Zealand's rarest birds, the Fiordland crested penguin, recognizable by the yellow crest above its eyes and found only in a few remote areas of New Zealand. Out here, the animals seem completely at home, and honestly, that feels exactly as it should be.
I feel like we are visiting their neighborhood.
And unlike us, they definitely know where they are going. As evening approaches, the dining room begins to fill, and after several days of campervan meals, this feels slightly luxurious. Large windows overlook the fjord, mountains reflect on the water, and the buffet seems determined to make everyone happy. One day, you are making toast beside Luna. The next, you are having dinner in one of the most remote wilderness areas on Earth. That is quite the upgrade. Today was not about adrenaline or speed or ticking off attractions. It was about slowing down, crossing lakes, traveling through rainforest, and discovering a place that still feels truly wild. From Te Anau to Lake Manapouri to the silence of Doubtful Sound, every step felt like moving further away from the modern world, and somehow that made the experience even more unforgettable.
A special thank you to Pegasus Adventures for Luna, our trusty home on wheels throughout this New Zealand adventure, and thank you for joining us here on Sky 83. Same time, same place, every week. Until next time, stay curious.